Hello, welcome to another episode of Daniel Lee Plastering and Rendering, and today we've got something a little bit different. We are repairing some old concrete steps that have been damaged and a little garden pathway. And we're using a floor screeding method on this particular job here. So the very first thing you do is give it a really good clean. Scrub that floor, we vacuum it, scrub it, make sure there's no moss, dirt, debris. And then on this particular one, we want to keep that path relatively thin. So we're adding a reinforcement mesh, which we're going to embed in the screed. So this is a 4 parts sharp sand, 1 part cement. It's quite a strong SBR water mix. So we're adding SBR to the screed mix for extra strength because it's so thin. Typically you might want 55 mil thick to 70 mil, whereas on this path we're probably closer to 30 mil at its thinnest point. So we want to make sure it's strong enough to stay together, and that SBR will help massively. You can see we're also mixing, we've got a tub there of a Slurry SBR cement mix. So it's about 1 part Slurry, 1 part cement, 1 part SBR-ish. Probably a bit more SBR than cement in that one, but ish. Mixed out, and that really helps the screed bond to that concrete slab. If we didn't do that slurry mix, the screed will just crumble up and off, but that really glues it and bonds it down tight and will allow us to get a much thinner sort of coating of screed over the top. You can see there I'm leveling it all as best I can with the trowel there to embed the reinforcement mesh. Ideally wants to be about in the middle, so you put about sort of half the thickness down and then a bit more on top. Now there's just 2 of us on this. It's not a big one. I'm also building out some steps, and they are quite thick, so I'm going to make sure I've got the big tamper there that you can see, and I will tamper those steps. I want to make sure the screed is really compressed nicely when I build those steps out. You see the mix is coming along beautifully. So now we've got the mesh down, we've got a bit building up on the step. It's now time to start doing the levels. So how I would screed this path, I typically start with the edges and I'll get them level. And when I say level, that's not really accurate because this garden path is on a slope, and you want to keep a slope because for drainage. So you don't want it perfectly flat or it will pool with water. So we've got a slight slope going down, following basically the original, but it's level is the same slope both sides, and then we're able to fill it in as we go. So using our trusty floor screeding rules and spirit levels, we're able to come and screed it all out. It was a bit of a scorcher this day. I think it was I think it said 25 degrees C, but it felt hotter. It did feel hotter. So it was drying out relatively quickly. Yep, very, very thirsty work there as well. And then as I'm coming up to the edge here, sort of extra attention and detail on the edges of the step as well. And you see there where I'm just building out that step. Again, adding the SBR to the mix of the floor screed is absolutely crucial for strength, because floor screed on its own typically wouldn't be strong enough to hold these steps together. I should also add, this has wonderful screed fibres, reinforcement fibres. And typically when you use reinforcement fibres, you do not need to embed the mesh in the middle as well. So this is perhaps a belt and braces approach, where I'd rather add it on this one because the screed's quite thin on the path. I'd rather have it there and not need it than the other way around. And you can see as well with the steps, using the trusty screed wall and the float to help build those steps out. And this is a little tricky because we are matching into the existing. The customer didn't want the entire path redone. It is a case of matching into the original concrete, which is very old, very lumpy bumpy. And given that, I think we've done a cracking job. You see how damaged it was there and how beautiful the steps have come out. We've kept the drainage line in the screed there, and we even added an acco drain along the edge for drainage, albeit that just goes into the dirt and ground underneath. And we filled in beautifully along there, and that's one very happy customer. That will take approximately 48 hours before it can be walked on.